Oni horns, feudal chest piece, feudal gloves, pink booty shorts. Pink booty shorts? Don't judge me! Ladies, gentlemen, and fashion hunters of all ages, if you ask the people who play Monster Hunter games what the most important part of their experience is, some people might say it's the weapons, others might say it's the monsters. But for a lot of us, the thing that matters the most is looking cool as a cucumber, but like one that you put in the freezer or something. Like, really cool is what I'm getting at here. The variety within the armor sets and the personalization available through things like the armor pigment system means that you can make some really creative combinations, and the chances are high that if you mix in an armor piece from a different set for each of your slots, you might be using a fashion set that is near unique, something that feels very personal and very much yours. That said, a big part of fashion is expression, and sharing that beauty and creativity with the world around you. And so today we are continuing the tradition of showing off fashion sets created by you guys that we've gone through and looked at ourselves and just decided which ones we like the most. If you want to have a chance of your own sets being shown in a future episode of this series, the link will be down in the description of the video below, and just make sure that you send in a nice clip of the set rotating around to show it from different angles, show the pieces and pigments used at a minimum, but feel free to send in some action shots as well if you want us to just have more angles of how it looks. The only other thing is to make sure any links that you send to us do not require things like access requests or specific account sharing, and don't have any sort of expiry time limit on it either. Just to make sure that we can, of course, actually see what you send us. All that said, today we will have a list of the top 20 sets as decided by Josh and myself. We will have a couple of cosplay winners of the week, and then also some honorable mentions when we round things off too, just for the few sets that we felt were worth showing that didn't quite make the top 20 for one reason or another. As usual, it's also worth mentioning that the actual order of the entries was pretty much entirely just done on vibe check. The main point of this is just to share a bunch of fashion sets that I think are cool and I want you to see. The actual ranking is just a vehicle to do that with. Starting off then at number 20, we have Horrost Hunter by Chronologic. This is quite a fun set themed around cold weather hunting. It uses the Knaufel legs and waist, which I always love to see used, but then it mixes it with the Shagama chest and gloves as an interesting pairing there that isn't often used. The fur lines up well and the colors work for the most part. The tealish type of metal coloring on the chest sticks out a little bit, but not really in a bad way, more as just a fun accent to the rest of the armor set. Next up in 19th place we have Camelot, submitted by Strider V10. This is just a straight up proper classic knightly aesthetic as the goal for the set, and it mixes the high metal helmet with Gravios chest and Gravios legs, with the most interesting part of this one to me personally being the Ajarikon waist, which actually fits very, very well here. And it's an armor piece that I don't think I have seen submitted even once to the fashion series before this specific entry, which definitely made it catch my eyes and get my attention a little bit more. Moving on then to number 18, we have Dagger by Andrew G. This one has one main goal, which is to collect as many blades as possible, especially daggers. And I always have a soft spot for a proper themed fashion set that still manages to look good while sticking to the theme. And this one looks great in my opinion. The leather set goggles on the head, the battle mail chest, the Hirobami gloves also look great with it too, and then just the Guild Knight waist and the alloy greaves to finish it off while adding on even more blades. This set is just piercing, both visually and in the fact that it has a lot of piercing implements. After that, for number 17, we have Demon Queen, submitted by Balrung Moon, and this one is fantastic overall. I love the look of these Zoshia legs just in general. They are a great set of funky tights, but then when people mix them with the correct Guardian color matching, and then especially just mixing it with other Guardian armor pieces in general, tends to work very, very well. In this case, they've used the standard leather belt with it, which works surprisingly well, but then Guardian arkveld chest and arms, which gives it a very sort of hyper-tech Valkyrie type of vibe to me, especially with the gore magala horn crown on the top of it as well. Then in 16th we have Sheriff by Brandon M. I am personally a big fan of Lala-Barina armor in general, and while this makes a simple choice on the surface using Lala-Barina chest with the Lala-Barina arms, it gets much deeper when you realize that they are using the Quemetries hat to mix it together nicely, the Hope Greaves, and the leather belt. All is a really nice set of pieces that progress through one to the next in a nice sort of flowing way that pulls the whole set together. And of course, choosing that deep red coloring as the main sort of accent makes the Lala-Barina pieces mix well into the Quemetries hat as well. But honestly, the thing that really sells this one for me is the Hunter's face design, the way they've done their own face with the extremely sheriff-like mustache. And maybe that's like a stereotype, but it's the kind of stereotype that makes this fashion set even cooler. Moving on to number 15, we've got Simple Elegance from Tids. And this is one of those rare sets that I love to see really sort of relaxed and casual compared to most Monster Hunter armor and fashion in general. They've taken the clerk waist and mixed it with the Guild Knight chest to create a really nice dress between those two pieces. The Lala-Barina arms with that color fit perfectly into the puffy shoulders of the Guild Knight chest. The glasses work with the rest of the armor, and then using the Death Stench boots purely for the healed boots peeking out at the bottom, it just fits incredibly well as a whole. As the name says, this one is all about simple elegance, and as far as I'm concerned, they have absolutely nailed that concept if that's what they were after here. In the 14th slot then, we have Barbarian Angel by Cam. And aside from just looking really clean aesthetically as a whole, the big reasons I wanted to show this one off in particular is the quite rare usage of the Melihoa jacket in a fashion set, as well as the Congalala greaves too, which are very rare to see outside of a Congalala focused fashion set to begin with. Generally speaking, I like the use of the waist into the chest to take advantage of the sort of corset part of the Melihoa top, and the Congalala pants in white fit way better than I would expect with the rest of the set around it. And overall, I'm just quite impressed by the creativity to use armor pieces that are quite often ignored within Wilds. In 13th, we have Apothecarian by 6-Foot Squirrel. I love the Rompapolo waist, and it is an extremely dominating piece of equipment on your overall look the second you put it on. But this player has managed to balance it quite well, using the Guild Ace chest and the Lala-Barina hat to give some extra boxiness and shape to the upper half, but then the ingot greaves on the bottom to mix it all together is quite a nice choice of combination. And then of course also the Rompopolo gloves to just carry the syringy medical liquid vibe up from the waist too. Then moving on to 12th place, we've got Artian Battle Maid by Demon. The main goal of this one was to mix with an Artian weapons color scheme nicely, and honestly it does a fantastic job of that. This uses the Gypsyros waist, which I love as an armor piece, mixed with the Ajarikon gloves and the Jin Dahaad chest piece, which meld together way better than I would have expected before actually seeing them put together. And then just of course the Lala-Barina boots poking out underneath, and the Noblesse ear cuff for a bit of accessorizing on the head. The shape of all these pieces work incredibly well together, and the pigment work that this player has done gives it a really nice just sort of flow that goes all the way through, making even the Jin Dahaad cape mix well into the Gypsyros waist when it's under it. And then of course it all just works nicely with an Artian weapon in hand and the forced color that the weapon has, which is pretty much the main point of this set to begin with. In the number 11 slot then, we've got the Fisher Fellow by Gunny, and this isn't the first or last time that we've seen a fisherman themed outfit, and this one is definitely solid. I love the use of the Azu's chest with the Gajau legs, and the battle helm just fits perfectly on top of that too, giving the set a real sort of triangular aesthetic, which may be a weird thing to say, but don't question me. That said, the colors work great together. They fit fantastically near the water, especially it looks good in the places that it's meant to vibe check with. The shape of the set flows nicely, and the theme has been absolutely nailed. Next up in 10th place, we have Sample Collector 226 by Toire, and this is a very uncommon way to take the Rompopolo syringe aesthetic, but one that I really enjoy. I don't think I've seen it done this way before. Specifically, they use the Rompo gloves as a main base of the look, then they tie it in beautifully to the Artian chest piece in those colors, which is not a combination that I would have expected, and then that flows fantastically into the shape of the high metal helmet on the top side and the Balahara waist on the bottom side, with the Jin Dahaad boots adding just a little bit of extra sharpness near the bottom. And the pigment work that they've done the whole way up with the way they've dyed this armor is just very fantastically perfectly decided. This set feels almost like it belongs together despite being from 5 different armor sets, and that is something that I always find impressive. After that, we have Gold Tinged Siren by Dwayne C. And this one is perfect for what it is trying to do. What I mean by that is that the set is beautiful generally speaking, but also just a touch scary, just a little bit unnerving. There's just enough pointy bits or discomforting bony parts that once you get past the initial rush of enjoying the vibrant, bright colors, you can then recognize there's something dangerous in front of you. And considering they named the set the Gold Tinged Siren, I would say that's the exact vibe that they wanted from this, as the whole idea of a siren is to lure people in with their beautiful song before revealing the true monstrous nature hidden underneath. So this is one that I'm quite a fan of. In 8th place today, we've got the Mizu Clan Chieftain, submitted by Dracer. This uses the Mizutsune chest as the main sort of core of the aesthetic for it, but absolutely seamlessly blends it into the Hirabami waist through some really good work with pigments that just carries through quite nicely. The Guild Knight gloves create a really fun sort of unique shape coming off of the Mizutsune chest too, and then the boots are barely noticeable, but the Raidao horns on the head and the ears with that color scheme work very well too. Not to mention that they of course put the whisker-like face makeup on too, just to sort of complete the theme on their look. In 7th place we have Fisherman Fresh, submitted by Legendary Sickle, and this is an absolutely lovely pink-centric set, which as someone who loves pink as a color, yeah, of course I'm gonna like this one. But what I really enjoy here is the use of the Raidao Gamma waist to create a fun color scheme, sort of like a gradient, that the rest of the set is then working around and trying to fit in with, using things like multiple different shades of pink, a bright purple, and even a more greeny blue on the helmet to match the crotch plate on the waist. And yes, I just called it a crotch plate, it seems like the correct name, alright? Overall, I like all of these armor pieces separately, and with this pigment work done and these colors chosen, I also really like them when used together, as it turns out. Then moving on to 6th place, we've got Badlands Vagabond from Jack Morin. Generally speaking, a lot of the submissions for male characters that we get are big and bulky and then either edgy or silly. But every once in a while, we get a submission on a female hunter that is a bit more subdued and tame and very well done in a much sort of contained way. But this is one of the rare moments where we have a more subdued and contained outfit on a male character, and I absolutely love what it looks like, because it's one of those combinations that looks like it could be on an actual NPC in the game just wandering around one of the villages, and I wouldn't think twice about it if I saw them. The Shiwu chest piece is one of my favorites, and that shade of green really makes the scarf stand out. The Komachi mask is a fun piece in general and fits quite well here too, and then the Death Stench arms and waist, normally I'm not sure would fit that well with what we've got going, but because of the fact that they have the Blanganga legs sticking out from underneath, the shapes of it all come together very, very nicely. It all flows together, and the gold trim on the pants makes it flow upwards nicely to the chest colors too, making the Death Stench waist almost look like the scarf of the lower half. And yeah, maybe that was a weird thing to say, but I'm standing by it. In 5th place today, we have Scarborough Fair by Orleth. And this is just a really nice, quaint fashion set. It doesn't look like a hunter who's about to go to war with 1,000 different dragons at the same time, but more so like a hunter on their day off. And well, maybe they're going to the fair, giving a secondary meaning to the term fair maiden. Generally speaking, I just like the color matching here done between the pieces. I love the way that the noblesse waist connects to the clerk chest. It almost looks very natural and intended, and the set as a whole just looks like it was made to be stuck together, and I can't help but adore the way that it looks all as a whole. In the number 4 slot today, we have Armored Angel by Hayden J. The coloring on their clip that was sent in is a little bit funky, so try to keep in mind that the screen settings were just a bit odd. However, what really matters to me here is just how well this all matches together. They use the legs here with the Cranidash chest, and it's just a really solid move to stick those two together, but then mixing in the Guardian Sacred waist, which I always love seeing people find creative ways to use, and then they have a couple of different variations of helmet options to choose with the set, which depending on the one you prefer, I just like both of them honestly. I really like the shape matching and color work they've done here with the rest of the set. The helmet's just sort of a cherry on top. It all flows nicely, it all fits together in quite a lovely way, and of course some bonus points for using a piece from a separate set for each different slot too. In third place on our rankings for the day, we have Ape Assassin by Zihan2, which I probably mispronounced, but I like your silly fashion either way, sir. This uses the Blango helm for the ape mask, but then mixes it up with a bunch of different sets that are generally underused. The Yankut Ku chest piece, the Talioth Van braces, the Battle Coil, and the Shiwu legs as well, and it all just sort of comes together in a surprisingly sleek and good-looking armor set. And the name they've given it, the Ape Assassin, on top of being silly and funny as a concept, is incredibly fitting for how it looks as well. It all just fits together really nicely. This is just another one of those cool themed fashion sets where I love the theme and how hard they stick to it, but this one comes together so well even outside of the theme that it still looks incredible. Then we have our second place choice, the Hades set, submitted by Julian Martinez. This is a super edgy fashion set. While I generally try to focus a lot of my fashion personally around pink, and I tend to be quite bubbly and bright and such, I do always have a soft spot in my heart for the dark and edgy fashion sets when done well, and this is precisely one of those. The Guardian Ebony Odogaron helmet is a classic in edgy sets in Wilds, but it mixes really well with the Zoshia chest into the Balahara waist. The chains on the arkveld gauntlets add to that edgy feeling, and when combined with the sort of chest hands on the Zoshia chest, it makes it feel very claustrophobic almost. The set itself evokes a feeling of pressure and stress and constrainment, and that's what I'm trying to get at here. I can almost feel the hunter's emotional distress while wearing this. Overall, it's just a really nice set that happens to lean in an edgy direction. And then before we get to number one overall, we of course also have our cosplay winners for the day. First up, we have just a fun one that is a classic bound to happen in pretty much any game with decent character creator functions, which is Kratos and Boy from the modern God of War games by Jono D. It leans a little bit on the silly side, which I always appreciate, but the face and the makeup work and everything here is spot on for Kratos, and I always appreciate extra effort being put into stuff like this by using like your palico as a part of it and stuff like that as part of your overall set. And I especially like the use of the arkveld arms with the chains that are on them while wielding dual blades to give a general vibe of chain blades, which is just a nice touch. Then our second cosplay winner today is full-on Avatar mode Aang from Avatar, submitted by Driplinoid, and this is not the Avatar with the blue people, it's the other one, and this is a very well done cosplay. It is quite accurate, again, great work with the makeup on the character and such to make it properly shine, pun intended, and they even put on an insect glaive with the specific kinsect that sort of looks like Momo, the winged lemur from Avatar as well, which again, is just one of those bits of extra attention to detail that I love to see in a themed fashion set. And with that, let's get to our winning submission for today's episode, which is Corrupted Djinn by Mark Allred, who shall from now forth be known as Fashion Master 6000. This set is absolutely incredible. It uses the Zoshia chest piece that the number 2 entry did as well, but instead of just going fully into the edgy aesthetic that leans towards, they sort of flipped it upside down. They used the makeup on their face to have it blend in properly with the chest. The horns look like they matched aesthetically as well. The glowing eyes that perfectly match the Guardian glow color is a perfect choice. Even the puffy, voluminous, wavy hair that they've chosen fits the aesthetic here when you then add in the Blango waist and legs for the big fluffy aesthetic at the bottom too. And it just feels like a genuine character from a different piece of media. Like I would not bat a singular eye if I was watching anime and this dude showed up as like the main antagonist who has the powers of a god or something like that. It just looks absolutely incredible, and the vibes are immaculately in sync through the whole aesthetic. That does it for our main entries then today, so as we wind down, I'll have the honorable mentions flowing by that I really want you guys to actually see, even if they didn't make the proper numbered list. And this one here, I want to point out specifically, I wanted to show you because it was done by a group of 3. It's a 3-man fashion submission, and I absolutely adore that they got together and they did this as a group, and I hope that they had fun doing it too. I mean, obviously I hope everyone has fun, but something about doing a group submission for this just seems like a good time to me. That said, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who submitted their own fashion sets to be judged, and a reminder, if you want the chance to share your own fashion sets with the world, you can submit them through the link down below in the description of the video, and we'll keep doing this series as long as we keep getting entries that we think are worth sharing with the world. I hope you've all enjoyed this then, and I wish you all the best in being fashionable hunters on a daily basis. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay chic. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.